Aloha! It's 365 Real Estate Minute.
With Eric and Julie Ziemelis, and today we are going to be answering the question, is now a good time to buy a condo in West Hawaii? And one thing that is going to separate this video from everybody else out there is that we have a condo expert in Eric from his background in understanding how to manage condos. But we are also going to tell you real quickly about why the heck it is that we're sitting on this lanai.
Well, let's start with why the heck we're sitting on this lanai first, of course. And the answer is that we are listing this condo. This is Kona Eastwood. Number 9 is the unit. It is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo with an epic sweeping ocean view. Yeah. So that's why we're sitting out here on this lanai today.
Right. That way you guys get a chance to see it, and we'll give you guys a little bit of tidbit to show you this beautiful remodeled condo. But let's dig into why people should consider moving here, and also some of the pitfalls and some of the things they need to be aware of in buying a condo right now. So you guys always love to lead into what? There's things that we should be worried about moving here. So let's start with some legislation. Right?
Yeah, the new TAR bill is the one that everybody's talking about right now, and this will affect condos as well. But you did such a good job explaining it, Julie. Would you like to kind of give a little bit of how that works?
I'm going to put my legislative hat on real quick. We'll keep it short and simple. Basically, it's a transient accommodation rental bill, and it used to be called STVR, short-term vacation rental. And what the whole concept is that maybe a variety of people have known that Airbnb has come into Hawaii, has affected people's ability to buy housing, it's driven prices up, and also it's taken out a lot of the rentals for people who actually live and work here. So what they're trying to do is basically kind of swing that back into the favor of people who are looking for long-term rentals. So by doing that, they're basically getting rid of all the unhosted houses up in the residential areas around the island. And so now...
Just a quick meaning you can't buy a house and then rent it out,
right?
For vacation rental.
So what was happening is, you guys, everyone around the country went through this. Someone buys a house in the neighborhood, immediately turns into an Airbnb, doesn't even live there, and then the people go nuts on their vacation and then piss off everyone around them. So that's also been basically addressed, and they're basically have shoved that out. So the other thing that they're trying to do now is making sure that when you have a house that has a ohana or a cottage, that you have some regulation around not flipping your STVR experience up in the neighborhoods. And so what they want people to do is basically move to a longer term rental situation of at least 6 months.
And the idea is great. The idea is to help, give everybody on the island a place to stay, because of course the vacation rentals have been harsh on long-term rentals because they can make so much more money as a vacation rental.
I'm telling you guys, the average rental around here, let's say, is $2,500 to $3,000. But if you can make $10,000 a month on a short-term vacation rental, you probably don't want to switch that around too much. So unless somebody obviously regulates you to do that. So what they're trying to do is basically make it so that if you have a home, right? Basically in the residential areas. So that's going to be affected by this legislation. What is not right now being dealt with is the short-term vacation rentals and the condos down on Ali'i and up in Waikoloa, the resort zones. So there's a new word now. It's called the vacation node, and it's where the legal short-term vacation rentals can be used and utilized. And so that's what you guys need to know, is that places like this, like the condo we're sitting in, is for 30 days and more, whereas the ones down around, Ali'i, like I said, are those 3-day, 7-day flip rounds. So keep an eye on when you're looking for condos to buy, if you're looking for investment property, is what's allowed.
Well, right? and what's your plan, right? I mean, are you planning on living here full time, or are you planning on living here, renting it out most of the time? Because they do vary. Some, even the ones on Ali'i, some don't allow short-term vacation renters either. So it's kind of one of those things you need to kind of figure out.
And so as you guys Eric did some really cool stuff on this video, is that you're flying down from downtown, and he's showing you the different condo complexes. With the little words. It's so fun. Those ones that he shows basically are like a third of what actually is available the rest of the way down all the way to Keauhou. So we have a lot of short-term vacation rental condos here in Kona.
So what this TAR bill is going to do is because it's going to crack down on the number of they call them, I guess you'd call them, out of the vacation area rentals, that it will cut down on those. And so therefore, if you have a condo in a vacation zone, the people are the value is gonna go up. So that might not, the value will probably go up, but also your rents are gonna go up as well.
Yeah. So that's the pros of this maybe happening is that
If you follow the rules, you're gonna be
follow
rewarded.
the rules, yeah. Because if we lose, let's say, a third of the
Yeah.
short-term vacation rental housing stock, then the people who still want to come here, because the Big Island is not getting any less tourists, they'll be basically put into a little box down here in the vacation node.
Yes, with more money. That's the gist of it.
So we are not here to tell you if making a great investment in condos is the thing for you, because we're not your investment specialist.
Right, but that's definitely changing the market right now. What's happening?
yeah.
Right?
So economics would state that would probably be the case.
And then we have another couple bills that are also going to be influencing on how condos run.
Yeah, so there's a state bill that's talking about rezoning residential areas so that they can discuss what they're going to do for high density housing. It was just in the newspaper 2 days ago that there was enough of an uproar about letting everybody put an ADU in the back of their house that they're actually tabling that for right now.
Nope.
So get this, you guys. This is like a massive issue. Housing affordability is a massive experience here in Hawaii, and they're trying to fix and solve without pissing off the entire populace.
Yes, and both these are all very controversial, just to let you know.
Yeah,
that
lots of
we're giving you
testimony.
kind of a flat version of this, but there's a lot of heated debate over this. So the other thing that I was thinking that would be affecting condos is also the insurance issue that's going on right now.
Right.
And that's another thing to think about. And as you know, I think this started in Florida and then Lahaina.
No, it started with climate change.
All right, maybe it started long
all
before
those
that.
hurricanes that just keep bowling over whole cities. Well, the insurance companies have had to pay for that for many years. And then after the California wildfires, that really started becoming a problem trying to find insurance. And then now with the Lahaina fire happening back in August, it started doing a roll down effect of insurance companies now looking at Hawaii as fire risk and flood risk.
Yeah, both those.
So they are either taking the opportunity to have policies away from us, or the ones that are left still writing policies are jacking up the prices exponentially, and that is having a massive effect on getting insurance for your condos and also your homes.
My home too. Yeah, I was going to start with the home one because it's kind of an easy explanation. You guys remember there was a 2000 earthquake? Not earthquake. There was a 2000 lava eruption in the Lalani Estates, and that is all in what they call Lava Zone 2. And now to get insurance in Lava Zone 2 is and one. Oh, yeah, one is even harder. 2 and 1. I just heard a quote of over $8,000 a year to insure about a $400,000 house. So it gives you an idea of that is really, it's really soaking it to everybody.
Yeah.
So, and the same thing, condo insurance is going to go up just for the same reason.
Right, and that increases your HOA fees, guys. So that's why we want to basically tell you guys now, because I've had this happen. I've had a couple retirees come, and they have put the exact budget that they can live off of very, very tight. And what they're not expecting, obviously, is these rise in HOA fees because of things like this insurance thing.
Yeah.
So I want you guys to know when you're thinking about doing this that you have to have almost like an emergency, you
have to have some extra
cushion.
staff. Yeah, and this goes back. I mean, we always joke about this. This is the retiring in Hawaii thing that everybody says they've got their budget set, everything's great, and then they come here and everything's more expensive. It's not only insurance, it's food, blah blah blah, and then by the time they get done, they're like, "Oh, I don't got much left to eat on."
Yeah, I'm taking a second job at Costco.
Yeah.
So basically, people always like us because we tell the truth. We could not tell you this, and then you could just come and figure it out after we sold you a condo. But we want to tell you because when we're saying, is it a good time to buy a condo in West Hawaii right now? If you are thin on your retirement savings and you are thinking that you're set for a long time, you know what, things are changing. I just want you guys to know that.
Well, yeah, and I guess some of that news could be good and some is definitely bad. So the question is, so what else? What are some of the good things they have about buying condos?
I think one of the things about you get to live in West Hawaii.
Okay, yeah.
Woo, you get to have the sweeping ocean view.
Right. And do you want to go back into a little bit of why?
Yes. Okay. So one of the things. Okay. So we wanted to get kind of like those little stickling points out of the first part of this video for you. If you're still with us because you still want to get a condo, I want Eric to talk a little bit about some of the things that just, the kind of a little pro and con experience.
Sure.
Because one of the things that you were doing when you were managing the condos is that you were also dealing with a lot of tourists versus people who actually live full time in these condo complexes.
Right.
So tell us a little bit
Well,
about that.
and I guess this falls under the which complex you choose to live. If you choose to live long term in a condo association that's mainly short term, there's some issues with it, right? I mean, and we lived down at Ziemelis for a year down there while I was managing that condo.
And that was like
association.
98% visitors.
Yeah, there was approximately out of 150 units, there was 4 full-time people or something like that. So it was this constant parade of people coming in and out, and that as a full-time person is not as pleasant as you are when you're a vacationer.
So I'm sitting in the hot tub, right? It's like Groundhog Day, day after day. So where are you from? I live here. You live here? Oh, really? Can you tell us things to do? And then I'd say, oh, look, we have a video channel. Oh, are you the 365 people? So between the constant, everyone asking to share where they live and being shocked that we actually lived here, then the constant, oh, you're the people, and then having to answer all the questions. But this is what we're also laughing about, is the fact that what people don't realize that when people are constantly in and out, you have this dragging your luggage all over the place experience.
Yes, you do. We live next to the stairs, and you could hear the one of the main stairs, and they always had early morning flights, so always about 6 o'clock in the morning, dun, 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 dun,
as they're dragging it down the staircase.
As it comes down the staircase, so it's one of those.
And people being in the parking lot at all hours.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that's another thing too, that when you make your plans to come here, you got to get to know more of the complexes and understand these nuances around those experiences.
On what you're going to do, yeah, definitely.
Right. So tell them a little bit about like when you were in Waikoloa Village. What's the story about living up there in the condo?
So, well, there's 2 parts of Waikoloa, just in case you guys don't have it. Maybe I'll put in a little map here for that.
Yeah.
There's a Waikoloa Village, which is about 6 miles up into it's just kind of in the middle of a lava zone is where it is.
Above Waikoloa.
Above Waikoloa. And it's, I forgot the elevation, but it's pretty high. And the beauty of that, there's a few complexes over there then there's even a couple vacation rentals, but it's not known for its vacation rentals because it's so far away from the beach. And then you've got Waikoloa, the actual down on the coastline, and that's where all the I would say the nicer and where the more typical I want to go to Hawaii and go on vacation and get the beaches. You're near Hapuna and you're near the Mauna Kea, and
you've got the great shopping up there with Queens and Kings shops.
Yeah, so those are, but the downfall of that particular area is that of course it has a price tag to go with it. Right. But if you're looking for a condo, then it also has more return on investment as well.
Right. So it's one of those because it is mostly visitors.
Yeah.
Then. But that's another thing too we're talking about too, is that if you probably don't want to live full time in that environment because you'll have no community.
Yeah, but again, we also have to remember that some of these people might not want to live here full time.
No, that's just it. So if you're thinking about full time, look at that again. It's that visitor mix.
And we have a cross of people that are if I buy a condo now and rent it out, then eventually I can either move there full time or sell it and buy a house in Hawaii. But I already own something in Hawaii, so it makes it a little easier. So we have a group of people there, so that's something else to consider for that as well.
Right. What's the story with HOAs? What does it cover? Why, kind of like the house versus condo experience.
Yeah. So here's a general question. Everybody says, well, condos are so much more than houses are. But and this might change a little depending on what happens with insurance rates. But in general, what has happened in the past is that if you include, the condo association covers everything outside of your unit. It covers the roof, the outside, and most people, even if you have a pool is pretty expensive here, and it's got insurance and garbage and water and all those kinds of things.
Wi-Fi sometimes.
And Wi-Fi. And so you add that all up and also keeping track of all the maintenance. Remember, plumbing and it goes on. So landscaping and all that. So if you compare it to the house, they're not too far apart. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could swing either way depending on what you're doing. But the beauty of the condo is that you kind of have a set knowing of how much your expenses are. Example, like if you have a house and all of a sudden the roof goes out, then
that's $20,000.
Yeah, $20,000 versus a condo. It's just going to be $800 or $900 a month, and it's just going to kind of roll like that. So there are definitely some advantages of condos that people are kind of worry about. And should they? That's the question.
Yeah, and also I think that what it really works for, because we have a lot of friends that do this, they like to travel.
Yeah.
And so, or they're only here
Yeah,
like 3 or 4 months out of the year, and
Yep.
like in stints. So having somebody else basically taking care of your space while you're away, whereas if you have a single family house,
Yeah.
your yard is going to lose control of itself with the with the landscaping, but also then you worry about security and everything else. Where in a condo, you have the security, you've got people taking care of all of your things. All you have to do is lock the door and walk away.
Yeah.
And also then you can also rent it out part-time too while
Yeah.
you're gone.
And one of the things, let's talk about condo. The other thing that's interesting, a little condo versus house is size. Okay, and we know that houses, of course, are bigger than condos. But everybody on the mainland says, "Oh my gosh, I need a lot of space to live." But what's interesting when you come here to Hawaii is you don't need that much space. And I'm going to say the average condo is less than 1,000 feet for a 2-bedroom condo. But like example in this one, there's this huge lanai, so you spend a lot of time on your outside, you're lying, and you don't, even though it's a smaller place, you kind of feel like you're outside, and it feels like a big open expanse.
Mm-hmm.
So the size is not as crucial as you might think.
Right. And also, when you are in a community like this, like one thing I really like about this complex is that they have pool parties down here all the time. They call them poo-poo parties. And it gives you a chance to get to know other people, where sometimes when you're in a single family home in a neighborhood, you might not get to know your neighborhood
Yeah.
that well.
Yeah.
And then also these guys look out for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so that way you're kind of like, and like my mother-in-law, she lives in down here in Keauhou, and she's like the belle of the ball right now because she's got a chance to like be in a resort where people are feeding each other, they're meeting down at the pool.
They
So
go out for
again,
dinner. It's a
yeah.
great place.
So if you
Yeah.
like the concept of being around other people, making new friends, this is a great opportunity as well.
Yeah, automatically new friends on top of that. Now, the only downfall is you hope you like your friends.
Yeah, and then the con side of that is you're right next door to people.
Yeah, and also I'll just say this about condos is that there's different sizes condo associations. They go from anywhere from I'm going to say the smallest is probably 25 or 30, going all the way up to 350 here.
Mm-hmm.
So size has a amount to do on how much you have to pay. So example, if it's a smaller complex, there's less people to shoulder the burden of what it is, and if something goes out, it's going to be more per person to do it. So even though the condo might be might not be the most fanciest, if it's a smaller complex, you're going to have a little bit higher fees for it in general.
Right. So like something like a Leilani, which has like what 300.
Over 300, yeah.
Yeah, their HOA fees are actually quite
Yeah,
reasonable
yeah.
To live so close to the ocean because there's so many people there, right?
Yeah.
But well, again, we used to live in Keauhou Resort, and that was how many people? Like 50?
We had 48 units.
48 units on 5 acres.
Yeah.
And so it was a little more expensive. In fact, I think those HOA fees.
Yeah,
are
they're still expensive.
Yeah, they're 750.
No
yeah,
way, it's about-
800 almost.
more than that, yeah.
And also, if I can say, is I was talking to a gentleman from Oahu, and he said we were talking about condos, and he said, well, Oahu has pretty expensive HOA fees. And I said, what is expensive to you? And he said, $600 or $700. I'm like, you haven't been to West Hawaii. If you're next to the ocean in some of these complexes, you might pay like $1,200
so
to live there.
let's talk a little bit about condos next to the ocean. So incredibly great. You're on the ocean. You're looking out. It's perfect. Everything's good. First of all, my personal opinion is if you're too close to the ocean and you're just seeing blue water, it's just not quite as exciting as you see a little bit of the coastline and see some other things. The epic view is a little more better, but that's just my personal opinion. Yeah. But if you're there, the downfall is that you're going to get the waves come up and they get you, and it's not only even if you're far enough
waves
back.
get you?
Well, I've seen that was
sometimes the waves do hit some of the
yeah, Sea Village. There were several units that got hit every at least 3 or 4 times a winter.
Yeah, and
but
surf and racket it happens too.
Yeah, so but there's more than that. It's just the fact that you're on the ocean. You get the salt water in there, and salt water is incredibly harsh on. And this is what a lot of people don't know: appliances, right? And so you get these new appliances, and all these new appliances have these soldered boards in there, and the salt gets there, and if any of the solders are not done correctly, it corrodes it, then it dies, and then you have to pay $500 to $1,000 to get just the board fixed. We're not even talking about the thing. So appliances don't last very long there also, but it's also hard on the buildings as well. So therefore, your maintenance fees are going to be higher. And the other thing that I was talking about maintenance fees is also the idea that because of the age of a building as well, right? I mean, the newer ones have lower HOAs because there's not that much going on. But as you start getting in these older buildings, a lot of these were built in the 70s and 80s and maybe 90s, right?
No, mostly 70s.
Okay, all right, mostly 70s. Few of them. But with that, we're already getting into that. We were having to replace the cast iron plumbing that is coming in here and the drain lines and the electricity boxes and things like that. So it's just something to think about. But a lot of the older ones are in better locations, right? Because that's what they are, and they have I like they have a call it a Hawaiiana charm that some of the newer ones don't have.
There you go. And also, you're probably going to make more money if you're renting out full-time to the visitor industry if you're closer to the ocean, because that's what they want.
Yeah.
Right? But and again, I think most of our videos around real estate, I always have to throw in we didn't know this when we moved here. It's hot next to the ocean. Just so you know, it's hot.
And a lot of, if you're right on the ocean, sometimes you get a breeze, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's just flat, and you're just kind of sitting there.
And like right now with this tropical breeze coming through here, it doesn't happen down there next to the ocean as much as it does up here. So if you don't like the heat and you are going to stay in your condo for any length of time, that should be a consideration. So that's another thing too. That speaking of, is this a good time to buy a condo in West Hawaii? I'm seeing a lot of people coming from Wisconsin and upper part of the country because they're tired of being cold.
Well, and also we could talk a little bit about global warming. Making it's
so,
either going to be really warm in your winter, or you're going to freeze your hiney off, and you're going to get more snow than you ever got before.
So, when we say is it a good time, it's not just here's the fact that is it a good time for you because you're tired of freezing, or being like in Las Vegas and it's too hot.
Yeah.
We have a very temperate climate. So when I say hot next to the ocean, I'm talking like 88, but it's not 105, and we certainly don't get minus 40-degree weather either. So think about that when we're kind of deciding is now the time to move to Hawaii to begin with.
A condo will put you in a pretty good location into downtown for, I'm going to say, a little more than half of what you would get to get a house. Especially you can't get a house down there, but I'm just talking about a normal house. So it's a way to get into Hawaii that is relatively inexpensive, right?
Yeah.
Considering, and guys are going to laugh. I forgot what the median condo price is. What, 500 and something?
It's like
1,000.
550, 560.
Yeah. So I know depending on where you're at, that might sound like a lot, or it might sound like a little, depending on where part of the country.
If you're coming from California and the Bay Area,
you're like everybody says, oh, it's a
SoCal.
Bargain. But if you're coming from someplace that doesn't have those high prices, then you're
Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, we don't get very many people from Tennessee.
A couple. I'd say that most of the people coming seem to be coming from Seattle and the Bay Area, Southern California, and we're getting our share of people who are now flying from coming out of the friggin' cold up in the northeast area.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is though, is that this condo itself, 630, and we're always like saying, hey, if you are looking at that range, you're going to find a lot of like 2-bedroom, 2 baths. You're going to have some space. But if you do want to do a 1-1, we also just recently we have it under contract a condo that's like $450. So again, where are you going to go in America and be next to the ocean for $450,000?
Yeah, and let's talk about the advantage of a 1-1 versus a 2-1, right? Yeah. And one of the advantages of having a 1-1 is the fact that most time, if there's just two of you, let's say, that you would not need that second bedroom very often. And the beauty is the HOAs are done by square footage of as compared to the complex. So if a bedroom is quite large, it's a lot of square footage extra, which means you can really make your HOA fees go up quickly. And then
for having the extra bedroom.
For the extra bedroom, right? And also the cost of buying it figures another $100 to $150,000 extra to buy it. So maybe it's worth getting a smaller condo, and then if your relatives come, send them in a condo next door or send them down the road. You know what I mean? And you'd still be ahead on that. I think people always say, well, I have to have one bedroom so when my family comes, they have someplace to stay. But maybe that's not the best way to do it. You know what I mean?
And I'll give you guys a little tippy tip that when people are looking to vacation here, a lot of people who don't come with their families, let's say they're just like a couple, they would rather save money on the day-to-day condo cost. And so a 1-1 for them actually is a good thing. And those actually rent pretty fast all day long because they're a little less expensive. Yeah. Where the 2-2s obviously are more expensive. So that's something too, that if you want to keep your occupancy rate up and also be able to get into the market at a little lower price, the 1-1s are actually a pretty good idea.
Well, I have another tip for that too.
Okay.
Also, the idea is you don't have to get perfect ocean front to have a perfect condo. In other words, you can get the garden view, even though if it's in a fancy complex and you get the garden view, it's a lot cheaper. But those rent all the time because it's the fancy complex that gets you. It's not the
because they have nice amenities.
If all of a sudden your condo is $50 less per day than the other one, they're going to take you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't care. They're going to be out and about, so it doesn't cruise that they sit there and watch the ocean view.
In fact, one of our people who owns a property management company here said the people who want oceanfront, usually it's a special occasion. A vacation, like honeymoons, that whole thing. But most people are not on honeymoons. They're just here on vacation. So they're actually going to say, you know what, I can just walk across the street and see the ocean. I'd rather save a little bit of money on my lodging. So that's just like, that's what we hear from our property management people. So there you go. But if you want to live there full time and be next to the ocean, having the whales jumping around in front of your thing, go for it. We'll sell you a condo.
Yeah, it just might cost you a little bit of money, but it's all relative. And that's the other thing is that as the baby boomers are getting older here, we're getting more of a push of retired people coming here. You know what I mean? And I kind of joke that this town is definitely becoming a sort of retirement town, just because of the cost to get in here is high on West Hawaii. So
right, and people are able to do the passive income. They've got the retirement savings. They've got their pension. There's a way for them to actually make it work here on a long-term basis. So
that's why they're here. But we have such a limited amount of supply that it is makes it so they can do it. So let's talk about that supply too right now, because we're in a weird point right now in history where the amount of sales is very small. The last 3 years, we've had limited inventory, and condos have, there's not very many of them out there. Yeah. And theoretically, we're hoping that things will loosen up a little bit and start more people putting them on the market.
And we do these market updates. If you guys haven't seen them, we do them every single month on this channel. But they said that most sellers will not sell their house until the interest rates get to the fives again. And that's not supposed to happen until the end of probably 2025, like maybe midday 2025. So they say stay alive until the fives. But what's happening right now, if you guys want to look at opportunity, is that condos right now are selling only half as fast as single-family homes. So they're sitting on the market longer. In fact, we just did a market update that up in Waikoloa Village, days on market for homes up there are reaching 119 days. That means there's deals to be had.
So if you can figure out a way around the interest rates, or be willing to take a little bit higher of an interest rates for a while till things come down,
and then refinance in a year and a half or so.
The joke is, what is it?
Marry the house, date the rate.
There you go. So, but I don't know if that's true or not. But the beauty is that there's not a lot of competition. I think what's going to happen is once the rates go down, of course, the competition goes up, and then that's why they're holding everything high, because they know there's going to be a feeding frenzy once they lower the rate again.
Yeah, I think that America is going to be in a better housing market in 2025. And then our mortgage guy basically said things should be like a lot better by 2026. Yeah. But as we also say, especially when we're talking to the people who are retired out there, every day that you're not coming to Hawaii is a day you're missing out of your life.
So let's talk about that, because we've had a lot of people that have been talking about moving here, and some of them they're getting to the point where it's getting difficult for them to do that. So what the typical idea is, you go to the retirement, you retire, and then you think a couple of years, and you think, well, I'd be really great to move Hawaii, and then you start. Well, by that time, you're already getting up there, getting up there in age, right? So maybe it's better to start, before, retire early, or figure out a way to make it happen, or keep a job here or something, because
or maybe not get the most expensive condo ever.
You don't have to, if you can't do anything and you're just sitting there stuck, it's best not to do that.
Yeah, and there's beautiful condos here in Kona, you guys, that you can get a beautiful oceanfront condo here for $1 million. I mean, if you really want to go there, you can do it. And then also, if you decide to go up even further up into the Waikoloa area, there's like $4 million condos up there. I mean, you can go nuts if you wanted to. But even if there's a way just to get yourself here, so that way you can start enjoying a better life in terms of weather, lifestyle, get on with your life. I think that when Eric and I got here, we didn't retire, but we got here when we were 40. And I'm telling you guys, I was high-fiving myself all day long when we were sitting in front of the Four Seasons on the beach enjoying a glass of wine. Yeah. And now that we are almost 60, I'm tired now. I'm glad that we got a chance to really do all the things. We did hiking and everything else. And now when we see people who are just getting here and they're 72, they're not able to really enjoy all the things that Kona has to offer.
You're right. By that time, I know there are some people that are kicking it.
Like
we're not
72.
doing, but there are also some that are slowing down at that point. So
right.
it's just something to think about.
Right. And also then you have to start worrying about the healthcare issue. Yeah. Right. And then we don't have the best healthcare. So what I'm also seeing is people having these little ideas where they can come and they can live on an island for 5 years, and then they can go back to the mainland and get healthcare.
That's an interesting idea. Right.
You know, so you don't have to be here forever, but come at least and enjoy part of your life, right? Yeah. So we're just kind of, again, just kind of brainstorming some ideas for you guys when you start thinking about buying a condo, because you wouldn't be here if you weren't.
Yes, you wouldn't be watching this video if you weren't on a condo.
So, and that, we do Zoom calls with people who are just trying to kind of brainstorm how it's all going to work out and how we can actually give you guys some of the insights that we've gotten, because we've lived here for 15 years. We have actually lived in 3 different condo complexes up and down the coast.
Yep.
We also have 3 or 4 different amazing mortgage people that can actually work the numbers with you.
Yep.
And also because we have lived here for a long time, we know the different complexes and what they, if you say, I'm coming with a pet, we know which complexes have pets.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I have a pool that has a view of the ocean. We know which ones those are too. So between Eric's expertise in understanding all the HOA fees, the rules, all the stuff the nitty-gritty stuff that's really going to help you guys in the long run. Mm-hmm. And then also the fact that we have sold condos in this town for 5 or 6 years and also helped many people decide to move over from the books I've written, How to Move to Kona. We also have the Insider's Guide to Buying Real Estate on the Big Island of Hawaii that we offer as a resource. So we also offer community. So if you're coming here and you don't want to be alone, we also have an opportunity for you guys to get involved with volunteers and have a meaningful life after you get here.
And what organization did you just start?
Well, we just started the 365 Hawaii Island Community Fund, and it is a great opportunity for volunteers to come together and then find opportunities that fit what they want to do to help other people on the island. We also do a variety of fundraisers, and one of the things we're doing actually right now is we are saving the parades in Kona, and we just did a Race for the Reef, and we raised money for Ka'alu Beach Park, and a lot of our people are actually involved in ocean conservation, and we've got a bunch of newbies.
Yep.
The Reef Teach. And so there's lots to do on a small island, and also we have learned, because when people retire, sometimes it just stops for them.
Yeah.
Where being able to be volunteers in this community, you get meaningfulness in your life again. You still have a purpose, and I think that is very important.
I've seen a lot of people that are, and particularly, a lot of people get on the condo boards for that and stuff like that. But the condo board is okay. But they
if you like politics,
that's the thing, is you like politics. But to get out there and help the community. What's one thing about Hawaii is that there's a lot of holes out here in there that can be filled with expertise that you guys might have. And if you come here and it's not like the mainland where every single thing is covered and everybody's really good at it.
There's like 15 engineers.
Yeah, there's like
54 nurses.
So there's opportunities for you. You'd be surprised if you just kind of open up and look around on what it is.
Yeah, and I do. One of the things I love to do in this community is find the people who are coming with expertise and putting them to work so they can help this island. Because our whole thing, too, you guys, is the fact that we don't encourage people to move here. We encourage people who feel like they belong and they want to give back to this island. That's who we really like to work with, because you know what, sitting around all day looking at the ocean gets old after a little while.
A funny story about that. We've known a few people that have done that, and at a certain point they're like, okay, I'm done, and they go back home.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They pack it up and go.
And this goes. It's difficult to live on an island, and we always say that, but that it's one of those. I think what the number is, a 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 actually make it past 5 years.
Yeah.
So you really got to figure out to make your community, and that's kind of what what we're trying to provide for you guys.
Yes.
Is
Intentional living.
To start with finding people, because there's nobody that's gonna if your car breaks down, who are you gonna call, right? You're on the side of the road. Are you gonna call? You usually call your brother, sister, somebody. If they're not here, then who is that person?
Right.
So
and we've
make those
literally
friends.
put people together and they're best friends.
Yeah.
And they go snorkeling together. They're joining the paddling clubs together. There's a big pickleball association here. So once you get to know 1 or 2 people, then they introduce you to people and stuff, and it starts to grow from there. So again, this isn't like Margaritaville, retirement community where everywhere walking around in like golf carts and things like that. But it's a great place to retire because people actually show aloha. And you know what? If you're watching this video, you probably have come here quite a few times. You love Hawaii Island. You're trying to figure out how you can make this your home. And like I said, we're here to help you. So,
all right.
Okay?
And with that,
we will say aloha, but you guys don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We're always trying to make different kinds of helpful videos for you. And if you have some idea that you want us to do a video about, go ahead and pop it in the comments
all
too.
right. And I'm also going to do a little plug for our other channel in case you guys just happen to be on this channel and you're new to getting this. We also have the 365 Hawaii YouTube channel, which is a lifestyle, and we post a lot on that, and we have a lot of good videos on there.
Find out restaurants, to hikes,
all those kinds
all
of
the stuff that's happening, issues that are affecting West Hawaii. We like to say that we are your news channel here in Kona, because there isn't a news channel here in Kona. But yeah, so we'd like to help people just figure out ways to make it work here in Hawaii. And if selling a house, buying a house is a great idea. And also don't forget, this condo is for sale with this epic view. Again, we'll leave the information down below.
And with that, we say
aloha.
Aloha.